Hey everyone, Mitch coming in from the Commander Score Studio. Welcome to the show. So on today's episode, I'm going to be talking about a commander that, like many wouldn't think is broken. Like, it is a commander that is incredibly cheap, an incredibly budget-friendly commander. One that is maybe even uncommon, but one that, yeah, you can do some crazy broken things with it very quickly. Things get out of hand with this one. Let's jump into it. And that commander is Hamza, Guardian of Arashin. Again, an uncommon commander for 9 cents. 9 cents! How many commanders out there can you name? They're like, that thing is broken and it's 9 cents. And you're like, well, okay, Urza. No, Urza is nowhere near 9 cents, of course. There are commanders out there that are so expensive because, like, yeah, that thing's broken, my gosh. Not that there aren't, like, some budget-friendly commanders that can definitely be broken that are, you know, decently cheap, but, like, 9 cents? Wow. And speaking of budget-friendly, the entire deck, this entire deck, which, again, can get broken so quickly, so easily, $16.98 according to Moxfield, not including shipping or including basics, but you might already have those. Regardless, yeah, still incredibly budget friendly to do some crazy things. Hamza is a 5/5 Elephant Warrior in Selesnya, but doesn't really act like a Selesnyan commander for some reason. For 4 and Selesnya colors. This spell costs 1 less cast for each creature control with a counter on it. I'm going to shorthand +1 counter, okay? Creature spells you cast cost 1 less cast for each creature control with a counter on it. Yeah, when you think Selesnya, you're not like, cost reduction. Maybe you do, but I typically don't when it comes to that. But yeah, there are some crazy things that you can do when you can reduce the cost of things. And again, this is a variable amount of cost reduction. Some commanders out there are like, this costs 1 less. And you're like, cool, that's very cool. Very nice. Very awesome. Nice. This is like, no. It depends. Based on the number of counters, a number of creatures I have with the number of counters on them, essentially. So yes, essentially, if I go wide, get creatures with counters on them, all of a sudden, my creature spells cost nearly nothing, or even nothing in certain scenarios, and because of that, I can do some brokenly awesome, amazing things. Get ready for it. Hamza, Guardian of Arashin. If you are interested in this deck, make sure you check out that deck list link in the description below. With all that said, let's jump into the tactics to see just what I am saying. What is going to be happening with this crazy commander? So, first up, yeah, I gotta go into it right away. The golden pig of this deck, the #1 card of our 99, a card that acts unlike any other card really out there. It is Ancestral Statue, a 3/4 golem for 4 mana. Or again, with our commander essentially free at some point. Enters the battlefield, returning non-land permanent you control back to its owner's hand. There are other creatures that do this, but none of them are generic mana, really. So this is like, hey, you know what? I can come into play and bounce anything you want back. Oh, including myself. Yeah, that's the key right there. Not bouncing another permanent, bouncing itself again and again and again and again. Basically an infinite number of times. However many times you need to actually do this to win or, you know, set yourself up to win. A trillion, whatever it is. Yeah, rules learners out there, I know that infinite isn't a thing in Magic technically, but yeah, basically infinite, okay? So again, all you need is Hamza in play, as well as, again, creature spells you cast cost 1 less cast for each creature control counter on it. So essentially, 4 creatures in play with counters on them, +1 counters. And all of a sudden, this is free, which means that you can just play it again and again and again and again at Ornithop prices, but essentially with the bounce effect as well. So you can infinitely get ETBs and LTBs with this. We'll talk about how that actually wins you the game later, but just keep in mind, yeah, playing things for free is very powerful, especially when you can loop it again and again and again. This is definitely, in my opinion, the golden pig. That being said, we do have some backup plans. Let's move on to tactic number 2. Backup plan. That's what the tactic's called. Mir Retriever. I did make an exception for this card, I should say. It's 96 cents right now, under $1, but I try to keep all the cards in this deck under 50 cents to make this really, really budget friendly and just show how powerful it can be even on a really, really small budget. That being said, Mir Retriever is really good. A 1/1 Mir for 2 mana. When it dies, return another target artifact card from your grave to your hand. So, you might see where this is going. If you have this, plus another one that does the same thing, plus a way to essentially, I don't know, sacrifice them for free, then you can also loop that and cast those essentially again and again and again. Junk Diver is another such card, a 1/1 flying bird for 3 mana. When it dies, turn another target artifact card from your grave to your hand. Basically exact same thing, but at 3 mana. Next up, we've got Salvager of Ruin, somewhat similar. 2/1 construct for 3 mana. Sacrifice it. Choose target permanent card in your graveyard that's with it from the battlefield this turn. Check your hand. So another way to essentially say, oh, you went away? Okay, cool. Come back. And then I'm going to go in the graveyard. Then you bring me back. Yay! Scrap Trawler. A 3/2 construct for 3 mana. Whenever it another artifact you control from the graveyard for the battlefield, return target your hand. Target artifact card in your graveyard with lesser mana value. So this one does work with Mir Retriever, essentially, and bringing it back, and then that bringing it back again and again and again. And then Workshop Assistant, again, basically exact same thing as Junk Driver. 3 mana for a 1/2 construct. When it dies, bring back an artifact from your graveyard to your hand. So again, essentially a combination of 2 of these, and then, yeah, just ways to sacrifice them for free is also going to result in infinite casts, infinite ETBs, infinite LTBs. Yeah, a lot of fun shenanigans for you to have. And keep in mind with these, you technically need less creatures out there with counters on them because they cost less, so keep that in mind. Next up, tactic number 3, Outlet Maul. Yeah, we've got some ways to sacrifice these creatures, and some really janky ones that see like no play anywhere. Piston Sledge. Yeah, you ever played this equipment in your Voltron deck? Probably not. 3 mana, equip Sacrifice an Artifact. That's a hefty price. Creature is +3/+1, ETB attached to creature control, so that's nice. But hey, the important thing here is freely sacrifice artifacts. Again, having a free sacrifice outlet means that we can sacrifice those Mir Retriever type cards, and then go get another one back. ETB, another one, another one, another one, another one. Just freely looping this again and again and again. Next up, a creature that can help us out. Thermal Navigator. A 2/2 for 3 mana, sacrifice an artifact. It gains flying till end of turn, so keep that in mind as well. I believe this one's a construct, so keep that in mind too for later. Demon Male Hallberg. I'll tell you why that matters later. +4/+2, sacrifice a creature to equip this one. So yeah, again, sacrifice your creatures, get them into play, get something else back, sacrifice your creature, get it in play, get it back, do the same thing over and over again. Extruder, this one's got an echo cost. Yeah, that's a weird thing. We don't usually see echo cost on anything that's ever playable, but hey, there you go. This for 4 mana, sacrifice an artifact, get a counter on target creature. That can also be very relevant for a win condition as well. Again, when you are infinitely looping this, you can also get basically infinite counters on your creatures that are sticking in play, so keep that in mind too. And also it's good for setup as well, to be like, oh, okay, I need one more counter on a creature to be able to go infinite with these things. Cool, sacrifice an artifact to do so. And then finally, Rusted Slasher, a 4/1 that has sacrifice an artifact regenerated. So this one actually can protect itself very well, which is quite nice. So it's a protected outlet that also again is a free sacrifice outlet. Both are very important things, but yeah, the free is the most important thing out of this. But next up, let's go into tactic number 4, Plan Ahead. And plan ahead we shall with a card like Instrument of the Bards. Let your artifact that you can get down as early as turn 1. Beginning of your upkeep, you may put a Harmony counter on it by paying 4 mana. You can tap, search life for a creature card, mana value equal to the number of Harmony counters on it, reveal it in your hand. If the creature's legendary, you make a treasure. Yeah, what we're going to be doing is getting things that are not legendary, most likely, like a Mir Retriever, if we want to get it at 2, or, yeah, even our Ancestral Statue at 4. So, yeah, get the key pieces that you need to win the game. Next up, Ecological Appreciation. X2 and a green, search life for in graveyard for up to 4 creature cards with different names. Each have mana value X less, reveal them, and opponent chooses 2 of them. Shuffle each of those cards to your library with the rest of the battlefield. Exile this. Again, our creatures essentially can combo with just 2 of them. So yeah, go get those. So get whatever combination of creatures you need to do so. Moving on, Scrapyard Recombiner. Tap, sacrifice an artifact, search life for a construct card, reveal, put your hand, then shuffle. This one can tutor out constructs, which again, can be creatures that are like, oh, I don't know, our free sacrifice outlet that we talked about earlier that I mentioned was a construct. Or also, yes, some of those creatures that are part of our combination. The ones that are like, hey, you know what? I'm an amazing card. And you're like, yes, you are. You're a great card right there. You die, you bring another artifact back. Great, keep doing that. Why not? Again and again and again. Also keep in mind, this one does come with counters on it because of modular 2, which is nice. Threats undetected. Search library to 4 creature cards with different powers, reveal them, and opponent chooses 2 of those cards. Shuffle the chosen cards in your library, the rest in your hand. So yeah, this can get you a lot of great things. Yisan the Wanderer Bard. 3 mana tap, put a verse counter on it. Search life for a creature card, mana value equal to the number of verse counters on it upon the battlefield, then shuffle. This can build up throughout the game and get us exactly what we need to win. Again, you can literally just like tutor out Ancestral Statue and then get going from there if you really need to once you get there. Primal Command. Target player gains 7 life, but target non-creature put on top of its own library. Target player shuffles a grave in the library or tutor a creature card in your hand. Again, you're getting 2 of these. One is probably going to be the tutor the creature card to win the game. Brutalizer Exarch, yet another way to do so. ETB, choose 1, search over a creature card, reveal it, shuffle your library, put the card on top, put target non-creature permanent on the bottom of its own library. So either some great removal for us, or again, tutor out that great creature on top of your library, get ready to draw it, and then win next turn. Next up, though, tactic number 5, to infinity! We can definitely do so with this. A 1/1 Human Artificer, Yotian Descendant. Dissonant, I should say. For 2 mana in Celestia, whenever an artifact enters the battlefield under control, you get a counter on target creature control. Here's the thing. First up, early in the game, this can be very good. Getting counters on our creatures, ensuring that we have those requirements to reduce the cost thanks to our commander. Also, yes, once we are doing our little loop thing, all of our little loop things are artifacts. So there you go. Essentially, you're getting artifacts coming into play. Getting infinite counters on everything that we want to get counters on, so keep that in mind. Next up, Golem Foundry. Whenever you cast an artifact spell, you put your charge counter on this one. Remove 3 charge counters from it. Make a 3/3. Again, I do say infinite. Yes, rules lawyers out there, I know technically not infinite, but still. Okay, sure, I put 3 trillion charge counters on this, and I get a trillion golems. Cool. And again, keep in mind, you can actually remove these whenever you want. So, like, you can wait till, like, right before your turn and be like, okay, cool, let's get the army. Let's do so. Tauren's Fist of the Angels. Training. Whenever you cast a creature spell, create a 1/1 green and white human soldier creature with training. Again, training, keep in mind, can get counters on creatures, which is nice. But yeah, when you're casting your creature spells infinitely, infinite, and rules lawyers out there, infinite creature tokens, a trillion, whatever it is. Gold Knight Commander, whenever a creature enters battlefield under control, creature control at ++1 till end of turn. Again, we got ways to go wide, also ways to go tall as we want to. Again, all creatures have a trillion power, whatever it is. You hit an opponent with anything, and they are gone. Ugin's Mastery. Whenever you cast a colorless creature spell, manifest the top card of your library. Whenever you attack with creatures with total power of 6 or greater, you may turn up a face down creature card, turn face up. So keep that in mind. Go really, really wide. Also, maybe flip things up if you really want to, but yes, keep that in mind. Valor and Akros. Whenever a creature in battlefield control, creature control ++1 till end of turn. Again, exact same thing essentially as Gold Knight Commander, but not any creature. Blessed Sanctuary. Whenever a non-token creature's battlefield control, you get a 2/2 unicorn. So again, near infinite unicorns, whatever the number is you choose. For all non-captive to creatures you control, and you as well, which is quite nice too. It's just nice to prevent that. Primeval Bounty. Whenever you cast a creature spell, you get a 3/3 beast. So again, we get a lot of beasts in play. A trillion, whatever it's going to be. Also, you cast non-creature spell, you get counters on creature, which is nice earlier on if you need to. And also, when landers battlefield under control, you gain 3 life. So yeah, pad your life total a bit. Then we've got the Steel Flagship, a 6/6 vehicle with flying for 6 mana. Whenever another non-token artifact enters battlefield control, you make a 2/2 knight. Creature token with this creature gets +2/+2 as long as an artifact enters battlefield control this turn. Yeah, it's going to happen, but it doesn't really matter again. It doesn't matter if they're 4/4s or 2/2s. If you got a trillion of them, you're just going to win. It also has crew too, so keep that in mind as well. Next up, though, let's talk about tactic number 6, the setup, because, yeah, again, counters matter. And counters really matter with Champion of Lambholt because it's a 1/1 human warrior for 3 mana. Creatures with power less than Champion of Lambholt's power can't block creature control. Whenever a creature enters battlefield under control, you get a counter on Champion of Lambholt. Again, the counters matter in that the more counters you have, the more reduction there is. I mean, more creatures with counters. This only counts for 1, sure, but also, hey, when you're going infinite, again, you get all the counters you want on this, essentially, and your opponents aren't going to have creatures bigger than this. So all your creatures are unblockable, and also this can hit for whatever amount you want. So again, hit an opponent for a trillion, unblockable. All your other creatures are unblockable. They lose! Unbreakable Formation. Creature control get indestructible left turn, which is great to protect them, especially, again, once you're set up, if you need to wait a turn to actually swing, sure, do so, and be like, okay, I saved my team. Or, hey, if you cast it during your main phase, you get a counter each of those creatures. They gain vigilance left turn. So again, a way to say, oh, okay, I really need to set myself up, get those counters on creatures, and ensure that essentially, yeah, I get my creatures in play 4 again for Ancestral Statue that have counters on them. Cool, I do that, and all set up, I'm ready to go. Juniper Druid, a great way to do so. Whenever a creature enters battlefield under control, you get a counter on that creature and a counter on this one. So again, this one become near infinitely large, essentially. And again, all of our other creatures coming into play get counters on them. They're already set up to help us out with our commander. Loyal Guardian, speaking of which, at the beginning of combat on your turn, if you control your commander, you get a counter in each creature control. So again, if we got 4 creatures, cool. All of a sudden, we are good to go. Again, I say 4. That means Ancestral Statue, but like less than that even for the other combos. Next up, Venerated locks it on a 4/4 Convoke, enters the battlefield, get a counter on it for each creature that convoked it. So this can be a free spell that essentially gets us counters on all the creatures that we need to get counters on. Victory's Envoy. At the beginning of your upkeep, you get a counter each other creature you control as well. Primeval Protector, one that costs 11 mana, but usually when you're casting it, it costs just a single mana because it's going to cost 1 less cast for each creature your opponents control. It is a 10/10. Enters the battlefield, a counter each creature you control, though, which is quite nice. Each other creature, I should say. Next up, we've got tactic number 7. Can you dig it? Anyone seen The Warriors? No? Okay, really old movie. Anyway, Sarenth Steelseeker, a 1/2 human artificer scout for 2 mana in green. Whenever an artifact enters the battlefield under your control, it can be top card of your library. If it's a land card, you may reveal it in your hand. If you don't put the card in your hand, you may put it in your graveyard. So yeah, ways to essentially get a lot of lands in your hand, and when you're going infinite, I mean, if you literally want to just get like every single land out of your deck in your hand for whatever reason, you can. But you also can get things in your graveyard too, and like kind of like pick and choose what you want on top. Moving on, Season of Growth. Speaking of which, whenever creature in the battlefield control scry 1, whenever you cast a spell that targets a creature control, draw a card. Infinite scry essentially when it comes to looping with your commander. So go get the exact card that you need if you need a certain card to win from there. Surge Ender, the Meal Ender, has Trample, Hexproof, and Haste. Long as opponent controls a Planeswalker, they're going to be in big trouble if they do, because, hey, whenever another artifact you can also grave from the battlefield, you get a counter on this and scry 1. You can also pay 2 and tap and sacrifice to gain life equal to its power. So keep in mind, again, if you are looping with Ancestral Statue, that isn't, going with this, because you're not actually having that put in the graveyard. That being said, with any of those other combos, again, the Mir Retriever ones, they are going to the graveyard, so infinite counters on this, or near infinite, I should say. Scry as much as you want as well. And also, again, if an opponent has a Planeswalker, they're in trouble because this near infinitely large creature has Trample and Hexproof and Haste, and is coming through an opponent. And also, if you want to sacrifice to gain near infinite life, do that as well. Inspiring Call. Draw a card for each creature control they counter on it. This creature gains indestructible on turn. A great way to dig down into our deck a ton and protect our team. Life Crashers, Bestiary, being upkeep, scry 1. That's nice. On top of that, though, whenever you cast a creature spell, you can pay a green if you do draw a card. It's going to be really good throughout the game. And also, again, when we are doing that, like, infinite turn, essentially, if you've got mana, you can draw some cards to dig down to get the card that you want. And this combination with, like, Season of Growth is like, search through your library, get to what you want, leave it on top, draw a card, cool. Play the card that you need to win. Rumor Gatherer. Whenever a creature enters battlefield, control scry 1. The second time it's resolved this turn, draw a card instead. So, we can draw a card. We're going to get to 2. We'll also get to, again, way more than 2. Again, scry your entire deck once you're going infinite. Harmonize, 4 mana, simply draw 3. Teshar. This is quite funny, quite crazy, and can combo with some other things as well in some other builds. Whenever you cast a Historic spell, return target creature card with mana value 3 less in your graveyard to the battlefield. Bring back everything, essentially, because your historic spells are artifacts, which you're looping again and again. Primordial Sage, whenever you cast a creature spell, you may draw a card. So, you can get through your entire deck until you don't want to anymore. And then Radiant Solar, a card that can actually win us the game there on the spot when played correctly. A 3/6 Flying Lifelink Angel. Whenever another non-token creature is battlefield under control, venture into the dungeon. You can also discard to venture in the dungeon, gain 3 life. You can keep venturing in the dungeon again, because you are infinitely looping a creature that is non-token coming into play. So therefore, venture as much as you want to do whatever things that you want to do to win the game from there. There are plenty of ways to win the game from there. But next up is going to do tactic number 8, Deep Roots. And we're going to start things off with a simple ramp spell with Ramping Growth. 2 mana, get a basic and play tap, which is very nice. But also we've got Catilda, Dawnheart Prime, a 1/1 human warlock for 2 mana in Selesnya, protection from werewolves, which might be relevant against your opponent's Tovolar deck. But other than that, human creatures you control have tap at 1 mana of any of this creature's colors, which is quite nice. Help you ramp. But also, pay 6 mana in Selesnya, tap, put a counter on each creature you control. So this can actually just kind of meet that requirement for you, where you have those 3 or 4, whatever it is, number of creatures in play that have counters on them. This by itself can help you do that, on top of helping you ramp. Fertilid also is a creature that comes in play with counters, which is nice. Comes in play with 2 counters on it. Pay 1 and a green, remove a counter from it. Target player search their life for baseline. Basically, rampant growth repeatable on this, which is great in combination with other effects, essentially. But also, just keep in mind, it is 1 creature with a counter on it, so that could be great. Grafted Growth. ETBs get a counter target creature vehicle we control, which is quite nice. Makes a land, tap for 2 mana of any one color. It's an or, I should say, that enchants a land. New Horizons is basically the exact same thing, except not on a vehicle, but we don't really care about that part anyways. Rishkar, PM, Remigade. Enters battlefield, put a counter on each of the 2 target creatures. Each creature you control they counter on it has tap for a green, so now everything we have can be a mana dork, essentially, which can be great. Springbloom Druid, ETB, sacrifice 1 land, get 2 into play, tap. Basically, Roiling Regrowth on a body. Selvala, Eagle, Trigger, Trailblazer. Whenever you cast a creature spell, you get a 1/1 mercenary token that can tap and pump something, +1/+0. Again, when we are looping, that is infinite, which is quite nice. Tap, choose a color, add 1 mana of any color, different color, different power among creatures you control, which again can be basically infinite mana or near infinite mana once we get things going. So keep that in mind, which is quite nice. Then we've got Vastwood Surge, pump your team, and also distribute those counters to everything. If you kick it, get 2 counters on each creature you control. And if you don't, you're still getting the 2 lands into play tap regardless. Verdant Confluence, another flexible one as well. Choose 3, choose same mode more than once if you want to. Put 2 counters on target creature, so you can do it 3 times if you need to. Return target permanent card from your grave to your hand, which can be great if you want like Ancestral Statue back. Cool. Search life for a basic landing card on the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. So yeah, we could just ramp 3 if we really want to with this. Moving on to tactic number 9, though, Search and Destroy, and we shall do that with some creatures. Caustic Caterpillar, a body that we get on the battlefield. Again, another creature that has the opportunity to help us out by getting a counter on it. Thank you, Caustic Caterpillar. Help us get to that point of, 3 or 4 counters, whatever we need. 1 and a green sacrifice to a target artifact enchantment, or go away if we need to. Next up, Requisition Raid helps out in a different way. Spree, destroy target artifact, target enchantment, or hey, get a counter on each creature target player controls, or all the above, whatever you're going to pay into it. But yeah, this could be a 2 mana. Oh, okay, cool. I met the requirement. I got those counters on my creatures. I'm good to go. Now, Canker Bloom, we can pay 1 and sacrifice to a target artifact, to a target enchantment, or proliferate if you need to do that. Cathar Commando, a 3/1 you can flash in, pay 1 sacrifice to a target artifact or enchantment. Collective Effort. We can escalate this by tapping an untapped creature we control, which again, we've got a lot of creatures, so we can do this pretty easily. Choose 1 or more to store target creature power 4 or greater, store target enchantment, or get a counter each creature target player controls. Again, another great 3 mana way to just say, hey, okay, I've got all my creatures in play. Let's get the counters on them. Let's reduce those creatures' cost, which can be quite great. Knight of Autumn, ETB, get 2 counters on this if we need to, or store target artifact or enchantment, which we need to, or gain 4 life, whatever we need to, do that. Reclamation Sage, ETB, destroy target artifact or enchantment. No option here, but that's still fine. That's still a great card. Austere Command, very flexible. Choose to destroy artifacts, enchantments, small creatures, big creatures, whatever you need to do it. Martyr's Bond is quite the brutal and fun card in this deck. Enchant for 6 mana whenever another non-land permanent you control is great from the battlefield. Each one sacrifice a permanent that shares a type with it. Yeah, here's the thing. Even if we're not looping, this is still good because we're going to have a lot of creatures in play. So if they deal with those, okay, you sacrifice your creatures as well. That being said, when we are looping with any of those like Junk Diver, Mir Retriever type combos, hey, we're sacrificing an artifact, which is also a creature. Sacrifice one of those. Cool. All right, do it again. And again, and again. Yeah, it wipes out all your opponent's artifacts and creatures completely, so have fun with that. But now as this episode is coming to a close, it's time for me to hear from you, so let me know what your thoughts are on this deck in the comments below. Again, Hamza, a 9-cent uncommon commander that is anything but uncommon. I mean, this can do some absolutely broken things once you're set up properly. I hope that you enjoyed this deck. Again, if you are interested in it, according to Moxfield, $16.98, not including shipping or basics, but you might already have those. Again, check out that deck list link in the description below. And of course, as always, thanks again and have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. We also have a ton of brand new t-shirt designs in stock, so make sure you check out those as well. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG Player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.